Okay, welcome back to, I don't know what part we're on anymore. Doesn't really matter. Today we're going to continue on with routing in Angular. Last video we set up some routes and we talked about the basics of routing. Today we're going to create at least one link in our menu. We'll see how do we set up a link and point it to a specific route. One of the things I would like to show you is how do we display a 404 page for a route that someone might accidentally go to that we don't really have any components for. Like for instance /test. We don't have a component for test. We don't have a route for test or a path. What do we do in that situation? Maybe we'll start out with that. And if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, we created this character counter app in Angular, and I plan to do this in 2 other frameworks where you can just put in a string or you can start typing a string and it'll tell you how many characters total are in this string dynamically, which is kind of cool, right? Before we even get started with the router, like I want to make this a different color. I think this gray is getting a little redundant. So what we can do actually with the mat toolbar is there's a color property that we can set to primary. And now we have this primary color, which is blue in our case. Okay, so right off the bat, let's create another component for a page that's not found. So we'll open a new command prompt, we'll cd to our project, and then ng generate component page not found. Now we have this new page not found component. I'm not going to do anything fancy with this. I'm just showing how do we set this up. So I'm just going to put in an h1 page not found. And now what we can do is create a new route that whenever there is a path put into the URL that we're unfamiliar with, we can just show it that page not found component. And by the way, you want this to be the last route of this routing array, because what it'll do is it'll go through these one by one and it'll look at the path, and then the very final one we're going to put an asterisk, meaning if none of these previous ones were hits, then we're just going to show this last final one with the asterisk because it's a catch-all. And actually, according to Angular, we should use 2 asterisks as our wildcard. So let's go back. This is our last path. So we'll say path is asterisk asterisk, and then component is going to be page not found component. Now if we test this, we go back to our app and we do /test, we're now going to get the page not found component because test isn't nothing and it's not about. Therefore, this one is going to catch it and show you that component. So let's go back to our menu component HTML. And here is our character counter title of our website right here. And so what I want to do is whenever someone clicks on this title, it'll send them back to the home page. And so what we're going to use is called the router link. We're going to add it to our element. And then whenever someone clicks on that element, it'll take them to whatever path we specify. So here we're going to do router link, and that's just going to equal nothing. So if we go back to our site and I go and click on the title, though it doesn't really look like I'm hovering it, we're going to fix that in a second. And I click on it, it'll send us back to the home page. Now, how do we make the hover effect with the little finger and the hand? There's an easy way to do that. You can do it in CSS, but something else you can do is in square braces, you can set style.cursor equal to, in single quotes, inside of double quotes, pointer. And now if we go back to our app and we hover over the character counter, we now get the pointer when we hover over it. And lastly, we want to make a link for the about page. So let's go back and we'll create a new span. I'm going to copy the pointer again. And this one's router link is going to be /about. So now it'll take us to the about component because the path for the about component is about. And let's say about in the span. And one thing we're going to notice is it's going to be very close to the title, so I'm going to give it a little bit of styling here. Some inline styling where we can say margin left, and let's just give it some arbitrary pixel, so like 25 pixels. And now we have some space, and if I click about, we now go to the about page. Notice it changed URL to about. Now we're displaying that component. And if we want to go back to the main page, we can click on character counter again and go back to the main page. Okay, so that's how you can add links to your Angular app using the router link. And we also showed how to make like a default catch-all page not found 404 route as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.